So, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to start our evening. It is the 3-minute story challenge. Now, some of you have already been with our event before and some of you are new. So let me explain what the 3-minute story challenge is. But today let me explain first. We've got a big program ahead of us. Now, the 3-minute story challenge is for people. I've asked some people to tell a true story from their life within 3 minutes. Now I'm going to ask, let me see if that happens. Yes, it's happening. Right, can you all see the screen? It's got a big 3 on it. And that is the 3 minutes which people will be given to tell their story. Now I'm going to show you an example of how it's going to work. I'm going to set it for 5 seconds and then we'll see how it works. Right, I'll reset it for 5 seconds. And here goes. Let's say you've spoken for 2 minutes, 55 seconds. Here what's happened at the end. Could you hear that? Everybody, could you hear that?
Didn't hear anything.
You didn't hear the sound?
I couldn't hear anything.
Okay, once again, let's start. Pay attention.
No, not a thing.
Nothing, unfortunately.
Okay, that's interesting. Okay, can you see the lights changing then? Can you see the screen? Now look at the color change.
The color changes, that's clear.
Yes.
Okay, as soon as the color becomes red, I'm gonna put off your mic, right? Or rather, my host of the evening, Sylvie, the very efficient Sylvie, will put off your mic. And that's a challenge. So the 3-minute story challenge is a challenge to get a story across, keep it entertaining, keep it exciting, but finish it within 3 minutes. Don't play safe, ladies and gentlemen. Don't do a 2-minute story. Don't do a 2.5-minute story. Take it as near to 3 minutes as you can. Are we up for that challenge?
All right.
Yes, sir. Okay. I'm going to stop that for a moment. Let me reset it first. I'm going to stop that. What more? As the people who have been here before, what we have also, we have started a process where we're interviewing international people, storytellers from different countries. And today we are having somebody from Moscow who's I'm going to have a chat with. And we're going to put her a bit later in the evening. And her name is Ekaterina. Can you give us, Katya, can you tell us your name? Thank you, Katya. Can you say it out aloud?
Hi, you can call me Katya. I know Ekaterina is a little complicated.
But what's the full name just for the people?
Yekaterina.
Yekaterina. So Yekaterina, I'll be having an interview with Yekaterina, and she's also going to be sharing a story. Now, we've got 4 storytellers, not counting Yekaterina. We've got 4 storytellers. Their names are Joanna, Blair, Roger, and Michael. Michael. Roger, are you going to do your story in German?
No, it'll be in English.
Not Roger, sorry, Michael.
German.
German, okay, so we're going to have one story in German. Ladies and gentlemen, are we ready?
We're ready.
We're ready, okay, fine. Now, everybody, please put off your mics, except for Blair. Blair.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, I can see you. Blair, could you change your name and put your country of origin and the country you're in right now?
Okay.
Or tell us and do it later.
Okay.
Where are you from and how long you been in Germany?
Okay.
Tell us, Blair. You can do that later.
I've been in Germany 20 years. I'm from Newfoundland and Labrador, Canada, originally.
So Blair is from Canada. Sophie, you got Blair on? Right, Blair. As soon as you say the first word, the timer starts.
Okay.
There it starts.
All right. One summer, a few years ago, I was back visiting in my home province of Newfoundland and Labrador for my summer holidays, and there was a beach party we were having at a beautiful beach called Middle Cove Beach. And while we were there, we were out getting stones to build a big, big bonfire. And generally, we do this in summer when the weather's warm. The intriguing thing is it was a very, very windy day on that day. But what made it so fascinating is that there was a lot of various creatures flying around, like dragonflies, butterflies. It was so amazing because at one point I was carrying a big stone and I just set it down along the edge of what would become the bonfire. And somebody looked at me and went, "Blair, don't move." And I'm like, what the hell is going on? Why shouldn't I move? And they're like, "Don't move." And I'm like, what's wrong? What happened? Trust me, don't move. And I just sort of stand still and I just shift my eyes around like, okay, what's happening here? And I look down at my feet and I slowly look way up, back up, and then I look over to this shoulder. And what do I see on my shoulder? I saw a dragonfly on my shoulder. And this dragonfly was clamped onto me. I couldn't believe it. My friends told me not to move because they didn't want it to fly away. They told me it was a rare type of dragonfly. I don't know what the name of it is or what type of dragonfly it was, but I stood still for about 20 minutes next to this future fire. And people were coming by and taking pictures of me with this dragonfly. I don't know if it was dead, asleep, stunned. I had no clue whatsoever. It was just there on my shoulder. And after a while, I said, okay, this is strange. So I'll slowly lift up my shoulder and see, will the dragonfly react? No reaction. Absolutely no reaction. So I slowly walked around. And after a while, the dragonfly seemed to wake up. And then the dragonfly flew around my head once and then flew off into the distance. What a day.
Oh, wow, Blair, you got it in right at the end. What a day. Lovely, 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 lovely. Dragonflies. I love it. You reminded me about them. I haven't seen a dragonfly for so long. And anybody else here seen a dragonfly? Had an experience, close encounter of the third kind with the dragonfly? Okay, I can see Roger there, Michael there. So many people. It must have been a lovely, lovely experience. So, ladies and gentlemen, Blair took on the challenge and Blair managed that challenge. And I hope all of us, it was a lovely story. So next I'm going to call upon Joanna. Joanna, are you ready? Okay, you're fanning yourself. Is it hot there in Portugal?
Need to unmute. Yes, it's 32 degrees.
Oh, you lucky thing. Oh, mamma mia. It's a bit cold here. Nip in the air. Okay, Joanna, I just want to say you're in Portugal. You used to be in Munich before. You're a filmmaker and actor, but you're also a comedian. You do stand-up comedy in Munich.
Yes.
Great. That's how we got to know each other. Now, Joanna, you'll notice one thing with Blair. Blair said, okay, and I started the timer. So
Okay.
Absolutely the first word you utter, whatever it is, I'm going to start the timer, right? So as soon as you say a word, I'll start it. 1 minute, let me reset it. We are ready to go. Ladies and gentlemen, Joanna.
You can start. Okay.
Whatever.
Okay. So the year was 1994, which means that I was 4 years old, and also the year that the show Friends came out. It's not important, but I was 4, which means also that I was too maybe silly or stupid to go to school yet. So I was spending a lot of time with my grandma. And during this time, we played loads of games, and I was a huge fan of Sesame Street, any TV show, and anything else. And one day, we were playing one of my favorite games, which was you play to go to school. And the whole game was to go to school, and then you come back from school, and that's basically it. And we were in her apartment in a building. I live in a city. And what happened was, I remember saying at 4 years old, oh, I'm going home. And I got on my backpack and my flip-flops and my little jacket, and I went down the stairs of the building, and I went outside, and I crossed the street. I crossed 2 whole neighborhoods until I just got bored, and I went to a piece of grass, which was not weed, it was actually a huge field of grass. And I just stayed there and I played with my dolls. Meanwhile, my grandma, when she realizes, oh, she ran away from the house, blah, blah, huge panic, goes downstairs, asks to every single neighbor, every single person on the street, where the hell am I? She goes through like all the spots that we go to, the shop, to the bakery, to the bookshop, they used to be there, and everything else. And she couldn't find me at all. And finally, when she found me, I was just like in the field of grass, just rolling around, looking at the flowers, playing with my dolls, like being whatever. And fortunately, until today, that story is told as me, little Joanna, who decided to run away from home. And that's my story. Thank you.
Brilliant, 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 brilliant. Okay, just let me set that thing.
Thank you.
You're beautiful. It was exciting. I mean, you managed to tell a story like that in just a bit over 2 minutes. Exciting. I mean, I don't remember if I've ever had such a story happen to me in my life. Anybody out there have that story about? I've had it in the family, but not me personally. Anybody out there have a story with their mistake? Oh, that our young lady. Oh, wow, super. And these are stories we maybe have to, sorry, I made something. I made a mistake. Right. These are stories we have to hear at some future date. But Joanna, that is fantastic. Lovely story. Thank you very much. Right. Okay, Naomi, you want to say something? No, you just said you've had that story. Yes. Okay. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we got 2 more storytellers, but let's bring in the guests of the evening. Katya here is from Moscow. And Katya is an engineer originally. She trained as an engineer, but she wanted to interact more with human beings and get to know more human beings. She opened a hostel where she had 8 people. And then over there in that hostel, she used to hear stories, which increased her love for stories, true stories from people who've experienced them. And then Katya decided to do something very, very powerful. She decided to take on the legacy of Soviet silence and have people come out and share their stories. And she started the Story Club. Katya, tell us a little bit about your Story Club and yourself.
Well, thank you for introduction, Kumar. Well, I have started it 5 years ago after being a part of TEDx, TED movement, guys, like anybody. Well, so we had a chapter in our town in Urals, in the middle of Russia. And I realized that it was so boring. Nobody could tell, nobody could relate their ideas. And I was like, why? So, and one day I was like, I've got to figure it out. And storytelling came into my focus, and I was like, this is it. All this, in school, don't talk to strangers, don't tell extra, in schools we used to be told that we need to memorize things, not to express opinions. We just memorize. So I thought that being a very not a good teller, I need to learn myself. And when I kind of learned some, I've decided to start to share, and that's been going on for almost 5 years now.
So your Story Club is 5 years old, and
yeah, about that time. Yeah,
it's about 5 years approximately.
Yeah,
yes.
right.
Oh, that's excellent. And you came out here, and you went also to Holland. to understand storytelling events across maybe Europe, or did you go outside Europe?
Well, yeah, I did go to US. That's well, I'm learning from Moth. Anybody knows Moth? Like, you know, the community. Well, I love it. I went to Amsterdam to their storytelling school in Mizrap, and I volunteered there, helped them with the festival, and they told me things, and we like kept in touch. It was awesome. And then I met Kumar, and after that I went to Montenegro, I believe. Yes, and that's where I met another storyteller, like an organization. So I was like, I need to like learn from as many people as possible, so I could like, you know, bring the essence back to Russia and like, you know, share all this knowledge.
So you've understood a lot also, not only from what Russia, what kind of storytelling you have, but a lot of things which are outside Russia. Now, what can you tell us? What have you learned about Russian storytelling from your trips outside?
Right. Well, well, the biggest problem here is that we are not aware of the length because Russian language is so, like, you know, big, you know, like it's like, you know, about like, you know, you start talking and like it's really hard to stop, you know, to get to the point. You just like so since we are never taught structure, like, you know, there should be a beginning, the middle, and the end. It's very hard for us to, like, you know, to bring it to the point. We like always branch out, like, you know. And the other thing is vulnerability. Like, you know, it's very difficult for us to, like, you know, it's difficult to open up on public. It's easier to like one-on-one, like, you know, you're super open, like, you know, even if it's a stranger sometimes. But like when it's on public, you're super reserved. You're supposed to put your face on, like, you know, just like, you know, this thing, the mask, and then like you just need to let go a little bit and show your core, otherwise people won't connect. So, and that's my biggest struggles, I guess.
Okay, so that's the thing. I mean, I can well understand from a legacy of silence. I like that when you wrote about, you sent me a small write-up about yourself where you said the legacy of Soviet silence. I mean, you didn't say the legacy of silence, you kind of put Soviet silence. It kind of brings up a lot of images in mind. What kind of images did you have in mind when you wrote the legacy of Soviet silence?
Well, honestly, it's like posters I used to see when I was growing up. Like I went to school when it was still a Soviet Union. I started school at that time, and there was like this lady. I don't know if you Google it. It's like she's like, "Shh, there must be like spies all around. Like don't tell, don't tell," or something like spies are around. Like, and just like all this, the way we are taught, like it's very different from what I know, like in US or in Europe. It's always like, you know, stand up in front of your class, tell who your parents are, like what they work, like what is their work, and like who are you. So you're always figuring out like these things. But in our, like, you know, schools, we are just like, you know, memorizing like poetry, or we just like, you know, when we're asked to write an essay on a book, then it's expected to like say the same things, like the same ideas which were like already like were given us by our teachers. And I really, like, you know, didn't realize that even until I have grown up a little bit more.
Okay, thank you very much. I'll come back to you, but we'll go on to our stories. Just for everybody, I know to a degree what she's talking about because I did live in Odessa in the Ukraine and went to Moscow when I was a young child, and I understood this legacy of silence kind of firsthand. Could everybody also ensure that their mics are on mute? Because I heard a few background voices coming in. Right, please everybody check that your mics are on mute. And we are going to now go ahead with our next storyteller, and I'll get the timer ready. That's going to be Roger. Roger, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, Roger, the minute you say the first word, I'm going to put it on.
Okay, first word. Many years ago, when I was still living in Southern California, one of my favorite places to visit was called the Shoreline Aquatic Park in Long Beach, just a little bit southeast of Los Angeles. It was such a great place because there were these wonderful parks that you could go through and walk along the ocean. And there was this pier with all kinds of shops, some fancy, some not so fancy. One of my favorite ones, though, was that shop that had all kinds of things that you never would ever really need, but you'd buy something anyway, you know, toys and clocks and magic sets and stuff like that. One night I was in there and just looking at something, and suddenly I hear, and I turn around and I look, and what I thought was a cuckoo clock on the wall had this silly little head that came out, you know, went around like this with this crazy uproarious laughter. Well, I went over to it, oh my gosh. So I turned the hands around to the next hour. Cuckoo, cuckoo. What the heck's going on? I asked myself. Well, I went to another one and pushed it to 11 o'clock. Cuckoo, cuckoo. Pushed it to 12 o'clock. And it was a different laugh and a different face. There were like 30, 40 clocks like this all along the wall, each one of which would only come out at 12 o'clock and with this funny laugh. Well, I tell you, I did my best to resist, but it was hopeless. You know, the little rascal Roger just had to do it. I started going all along the wall, setting every clock close to 12 o'clock, and then I went to the door and stood there and watched. And suddenly it was, ha, and then, ha, and suddenly this uproarious laughter. Everybody in the shop started looking around. What's actually going on? But it must be something funny. So people started laughing and then laughing more. And pretty soon tears were running down their face. And people came rushing in from outside trying to find out what the heck was going on. And so everybody's laughing and I'm running along, resetting the clocks, of course. It was 5 minutes before people finally figured out what was going on. But everybody just thought that was wonderful. And they sold about half those clocks that night. The owner said, anytime you want to come and do that again, just let us know so we can order in more clocks.
Roger, that is a fantastic story. I love it. And you came in well within time. I love the story. There's so much mischief. I mean, I'll be honest with you, Roger. I wouldn't have pictured you as I know you today, but there's a lot of mischief. I like the mischief that you also have in your voice as you're telling that story. Lovely. Ladies and gentlemen, Roger is part of the comedy community, part of the theater community in Munich. He's from the US, where he's been living here quite a few years. How many years have you been living here, Roger?
Just about 20 years now.
Wow, Blair 20 years, you 20 years. We are all getting really settling in here. Okay, thank you very much, Roger. I'm going to call on the next storyteller. That is Michael, not Michael now, because he's going to tell us a story in German. Michael, das ist ein Augenblick. Mit der ersten Wort, das du erzählst, I'll start.
Okay, well, just hello friends, hello acquaintances. For our non-speaking German people, don't worry. My Northern Irish accent will be too hard to understand anyway. Also, ich stamme aus Nordirland. Ja, wie man weiß, manche wissen es, ich komme aus dem Kriegsgebiet. Was das für einen tut, ist tatsächlich, man achtet, was man tut, wo man hingeht. Man schränkt sich selber ein, nach 20 Jahren lang Krieg zu leben. Man achtet darauf, wo man hingeht, was man tut. Ist es sicher? Ist es vertraut? Werde ich gut ankommen, werde ich gut heil nach Hause kommen. Und mittlerweile bin ich über 50. Also tatsächlich habe ich das 50 Jahre lang gemacht, ohne es zu merken oder ohne es zu wissen. Und letztes Jahr, als ich ein bisschen dritter Frühling bekam, sozusagen, meine Tochter hat an den Samstag ihr Geburtstag. Ich saß am Starnberger See, schaute runter mit ihr zusammen und war, wow, dieser kleine Kerl aus Nordirland sitzt hier mitten in Deutschland an die schönste See mit dem Blick zu den Alpen und wir haben in Nordirland nicht mal Bergen, wir haben nur Hügel. Und hier sitze ich aus meiner kleinen Insel hier ist mein Zuhause, die ganze Welt Urlaub macht. Am nächsten Tag, Ostersonntag letztes Jahr, habe ich dann gesagt, ich nehme mein Auto und ich gehe jetzt ein bisschen Ausflug machen. Und mit der alten Nordirland-Manier ging ich dorthin, wo ich mich auskannte, nach Ammersee. Die nächste Szene nebenan. Und ich stand da 11 Uhr morgens, ein Auto schon neben mir und ich schaue, die Sonne scheint, den See ist schön und es ist aber kein echtes Ausflug. Das ist, du kannst mehr. Also sprang ich ins Auto rein, fuhr einfach Richtung diese Berge, die ich noch nie in meinem Leben allein besucht habe, und kam an bei einem Berg um 1 Uhr mittags und war drauf auf 2200 Meter zum allerersten Mal in meinem Leben. Das war nur der Anfang, weil dann fuhr ich weiter nach Österreich und da kam ich auf ein Glacier und dort war ich auf 3300 Meter. Und wer meine Facebook-Seite kennt, kennt ein Bild von mir mit einem Bergblick. Und das war das allererste Mal, wo ich frei gefühlt habe. Frei auf Bergen mit Weitsicht ohne Ende. Meine Freiheit. Geil. Danke.
Wow, wow, lovely, lovely. Meine Freiheit. Geil. You finish on the dot and you finish with what powerful words. Meine Freiheit. God, that is really what you're looking for in life. You took us on such a lovely journey, Michael, and that was lovely to hear it. I hope I'm sorry for a lot of our friends who might not have understood the German, but we are in Munich, so we want to put in a bit of German there. And my apologies, but not really any apologies also, because we love the language, we love the country, and like you said, it's a beautiful place. Did you say the best lake in the world?
Of course.
Yes.
Of course.
And the Blake of the Alps, the view of the Alps from there. Fantastic, fantastic. Okay, now, ladies and gentlemen, we do this every Friday. We might take a break next month for one Friday. We're going to maybe then after that take a summer break. And then we are really very seriously contemplating taking it to an hour show. It's still in the works. We're happy with the results we're getting. We're happy with the feedback you've been sending us. We're learning, we're making mistakes, but you've been very kind to us. You have been coming back and still giving us the opportunity to work forward. Next time, what I'm trying to do is get somebody from the comedy world to come and share what are the story aspects about comedy, right? But before that, let's get back to Katya. Katya, you do have a story to tell, don't you? I can't hear you, Katya. Right? Okay, Katya. Are you going to? Do you want to do it in a 3-minute challenge, or do you want to just take some time?
Well, I think I'll keep it up with the other guys. 3 minutes.
Okay,
short.
then what I'm doing? Just 1 minute. I've got a chat message. Let me just check that, and then I'll get back to you.
Sure.
Okay. Okay. Michael. Noch einmal. What is the lake? Name of the lake?
Starnberger See.
That means Lake Starnberg.
Starnberg.
Yeah, See means lake. Right.
The largest lake just south of Munich.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm putting the timer back on. We're going to hear from Katya. Katya, whenever you start.
Okay. My world has flipped from their back to its stomach when I was 14 years old, and I moved to my grandmother's place to start a new school in the biggest city and leaving my big family behind, like my parents, my sister, my brothers, in a smaller town. So I could get a proper degree and enter university, which is big, and it was hard. Because it was in the beginning of 90s. It was it was a time when I could only afford a new clothes out of my grandmother's wardrobe for 3 years of high school. and I was shy, and I had no friends. So the only person who has saved me from like total isolation, social isolation, was my neighbor. Her name is Yulia, and she was total opposite of me. She had like boyfriends. She been like, you know, top at school. She knew what she wanted in life. And I'm like, I need to learn from this girl. I need to like, you know, figure out how she like, you know, knows what to do, and I need to become her. So I started to ask her questions, like, you know, where did you get your boyfriend, where you want to go for like, you know, university, and like asking her questions on the way to school and like back, and I become so good at it. So when our way parted, I kept asking those questions to other people, and I'm like, I couldn't figure out why my world isn't changing that quickly, and why nothing is exciting is happening. But then, like after the 4th year in the university, I went to US, and I was like, this is something, and I'm gonna tell. I came back to Russia, and I met Yulia, and I'm like, I went to US, and she's like, how exciting, tell me about it. And I'm like standing there, and I have nothing to say, because I know, like, I'm just like freezing. And she's like, well, no, tell me about that. And I'm like, oh, that's okay, tell me about your Spain trip. And like, I was so like angry at myself that I couldn't find the words, and I couldn't structure like a proper thing to say. And only 10 years later, when I was learning storytelling, I found this quote from Ira Glass: great stories happen to those who can tell them. And that's when I realized it's not only about experiences, it's also about the ability to tell those in order for them like to live on, in order for those stories to really happen to you. So since then, I teach storytelling myself too.
Wow, fantastic, fantastic. Brilliant, Katya, that is really, and I like the way you told the story, and then you also put in that whole important story. I'm just busy with my, we're running out of time, I'm just busy with that. And you put it all together, and you showed us how important stories are. Ladies and gentlemen, I really would like to apologize, but Zoom is telling us our time is running out. So I'd like to thank, I've got 3 minutes, okay, I've just been signaled, I've got 3 minutes, so I think, Katya, let me thank you very profusely for taking your time out and coming to be with us and sharing from your life and your experience and telling us a story which again reinforced this whole thing about why stories are important and the value of stories. I'd also like to thank our 4 storytellers, Blair, Joanna, Roger, and Michael. Thank you all very, very much. It was very kind of you to come and share. Ladies and gentlemen, the others who are also here viewing, do take time out, do come and share, take on the challenge, see what a lovely experience it can be. We'll be back next week. We're going to try and get a comedian to share the points of view of a comedian. I will be doing a longer interview with Katya. I promise I'm going to do it for my own interest and also for other interests, for people who come here to share that they can go on and tell us a bit more about themselves. So to all of you, thank you so, so very much for having been here to this evening. Have a great weekend. Do great things, and just do me one favor. Send me in your feedbacks. Send me in what stories mean to you. Send me a phrase, send me a word, and let's see if we can build up a word cloud of what stories are for us all. Thank you very much. Good night. Bye.
Thank you, Kumar.
Thank you, all of you. Thank you.